Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. The story of Zhaojun going beyond the Great Wall has long been familiar to the people. Many admire her for marrying the Xiongnu without hesitation, sacrificing personal happiness for the greater good of the nation and becoming a messenger of peace. However, the historical Wang Zhaojun did not voluntarily marry the Xiongnu as the story suggests. Her fate was, in fact, filled with tragedy. Wang Zhaojun's story is a poignant one, and many wonder, as one of the four great beauties of ancient China. Why was Wang Zhaojun not favored in the imperial palace? Why was she forced to marry the Xiongnu? And why did her life with the Xiongnu end in tragedy, with no hope for her even after her husband's death, leading to a sorrowful end? This question reveals the complex and little-known fate of Wang Zhaojun and the intricate nature of history. Wang Zhaojun was born in 54 BCE in a commoner's family in Nanjun, modern-day Zhaojun village, Xingshan County, Hubei Province. Her father, Wang Xiang, was elderly when he had her and loved her dearly. Despite the family's lack of wealth, he never let his daughter suffer any hardships, treating her like a precious jewel. Her brothers and sisters-in-law also pampered her. Wang Zhaojun had a happy childhood, and as she grew older, people noticed that she was exceptionally beautiful and elegant, with the potential of becoming a beauty even before fully growing into adulthood. What was even more remarkable was that Wang Zhaojun not only possessed extraordinary beauty, but also remarkable intelligence. She was skilled in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, excelling in both talent and appearance. When she matured into a graceful young woman, tales of her beauty and talent spread throughout Nanjun, and even reached the capital. In the first year of the Jian Zhao era, AD 1, Emperor Yuan of Han ordered nationwide recruitment of young women to serve as concubines in the palace. Wang Xiang, believing that his daughter Wang Zhaojun had exceptional beauty and talent, decided to send her to participate in the selection, hoping that she would stand out and bring glory and wealth to the family. In ancient China, it was common for commoner girls to enter the palace as concubines. If they were lucky, they might catch the emperor's eye and rise to prominence. Wang Zhaojun, with her beauty and talent, naturally did not wish to live a mundane life. Following her father's and brother's wishes, she entered the selection and was successfully chosen to join the imperial palace. However, she did not realize that this would mark the beginning of a tragic fate. In most historical accounts or folk stories, Wang Zhaojun is said to have entered the palace under the name Wang Chang, though some say it was Wang Chang. This led to speculation that her name may have been Wang Chang, or Wang Chang, with the courtesy name Zhaojun. However, later scholars have determined that neither Wang Chang nor Wang Chang was her actual name. These were merely vague titles meaning a girl from the Wang family, and thus, her real name remains unknown. Therefore, she is usually referred to as Wang Zhaojun. When Wang Zhaojun entered the palace, the imperial concubines were initially placed in the Yeding, the inner chambers, to wait for the emperor's favor, hoping for the day they would be chosen. However, with so many beautiful women in the imperial harem, how could the emperor possibly look at each one individually? Generally, the emperor would order painters to create portraits of these women and present them to him. The emperor would then select his concubines based on these portraits, choosing the ones he found most beautiful to serve him. This gave the palace women an opportunity to bribe the painters, offering them money in exchange for portraits that made them look more attractive, increasing their chances of being selected by the emperor. But Wang Zhaojun did not do this. The reasons vary. Some say she was proud and aloof, believing her natural beauty was enough, and thus didn't feel the need to bribe the painter. Others suggest that her family was poor and could not afford to pay the bribes. Some historians find the latter explanation more likely, given that Wang Zhaojun came from a commoner background. Regardless of the reason, Wang Zhaojun did not bribe the painter, and this angered the artist, Mao Yanshou. When he painted her portrait, he deliberately made her look less attractive. Thus, despite Wang Zhaojun's extraordinary beauty and talent, she was unable to catch the emperor's eye and remained neglected in the palace for a long time. Much like a beautiful flower growing in a forgotten corner, lovely, yet unnoticed by anyone. Had this been the only issue, it might not have been so tragic. After all, no matter how overlooked she was still in her homeland. Who knew? One day, the emperor might take a sudden interest, and she could still be chosen. At least that would be a glimmer of hope. However, the situation was completely shattered when the Xiongnu Chanyu Huhanyi came to the Han court to propose marriage, effectively destroying any hopes Wang Zhaojun might have had. At this point, it's important to mention the policy of Heqin, marriage alliance, that had been in place since the establishment of the Han dynasty. When the Han dynasty was first founded, Emperor Gaozu of Han, Liu Bang, was eager to confront the Xiongnu in battle. However, he was trapped at the Battle of Baideng, nearly losing his life. It was only thanks to Empress Liu's bribes of money and jewels that Liu Bang managed to escape. Having narrowly escaped, Liu Bang was left to ponder how to deal with the Xiongnu moving forward. Emperor Gaozu drew inspiration from Empress Liu's use of bribes and realized that Heqin, the practice of sending women in marriage to the Xiongnu as a form of tribute, could be a way to ease the Xiongnu's military pressure and buy time for the Han dynasty's recovery. This idea was not unique to Emperor Gaozu, it became a widely accepted practice throughout the empire. The general consensus was that sacrificing the happiness of one woman could bring peace and prosperity to the entire nation. So, who would hesitate to make this sacrifice? However, the women sent to form these alliances were the ones who suffered. No matter how much their suffering was dressed up in flowery words, it could not hide the pain they endured. What woman sent to a marriage alliance did not travel with a sorrowful heart, dreading the journey in the future? Imagine, traveling thousands of miles away, never to see one's homeland again. With no certainty of when, or even if, one could ever reunite with their family. Who would willingly choose such a fate? Thus, the Han dynasty used the practice of Heqin to alleviate external threats, gradually recovering its strength. With the reign of Emperor Wen and Emperor Jing, the country became prosperous. When Emperor Wu, Liu Che, ascended to the throne, he was determined to erase the humiliation his predecessor had suffered at the hands of the Xiongnu. He sent generals like Wei Qing and Hua Zubing to wage war against them. At this point, the Han dynasty demonstrated far superior military strength compared to the Xiongnu. The famous general Wei Qing led an army that fought its way from the Hetao region all the way to the southern desert, the Heshi corridor, and the northern frontier, achieving great victories that earned him fame across the northern border. Another famed general, Hua Zubing, chased the Xiongnu to the Langjiaxu mountain, and after a sacrificial ceremony, was celebrated for his success. The Han Shu, Book of Han, records this as the Feng Langjiaxu, the sealing of Langjiaxu. By the time of Emperor Yuan of Han, internal strife had divided the Xiongnu into 5 independent tribes. Even the southern Xiongnu's leader, Huhanyi Chanyu, came to the Han court to pledge allegiance, expressing his willingness to become a vassal of the Han, making the southern Xiongnu a tributary state. It was clear at this time that the Han dynasty no longer feared the Xiongnu. In fact, it was the Xiongnu who now looked upon the Han with awe and respect. So, why is there the story of Zhaojun going beyond the Great Wall? It turns out that in the first year of Jingning, 33 BCE, when Huhanyi Chanyu of the Xiongnu came to Chang'an to pay homage to the emperor, he proposed a marriage alliance to demonstrate his loyalty to the Han dynasty and to strengthen relations between the two countries. Huhanyi asked to marry a princess of the Han, hoping to become a son-in-law of the great Han Empire. Although it appeared to be a request for a marriage, Huhanyi's attitude was extremely respectful, even submissive. Emperor Yuan of Han, seeing this, did not want to refuse the request outright, as it would harm diplomatic relations. So, He ordered that a palace maid be selected to be given to Yuhanyi, and Yuhanyi, not daring to object, readily accepted. The woman chosen by Emperor Yuan to be sent to the Xiongnu was none other than Wang Zhaojun. When the news reached the palace maids were all terrified, dreading being chosen. The Xiongnu was a harsh and desolate land, far away from home, and no one wanted to go. Emperor Yuan was aware that no one was willing to go, so he ordered the palace maids' portraits to be presented. Wang Zhaojun, having not bribed the artist, had a less than flattering portrait. Upon seeing it, Emperor Yuan immediately chose her, saying, "You will go." With a simple imperial command, the fate of one woman was decided. It is worth mentioning that in many folk tales or literary works, Wang Zhaojun is portrayed as volunteering to go beyond the Great Wall and marry the Xiongnu, embodying the noble spirit of sacrificing oneself for the greater good of ethnic harmony. However, according to the historical records of the Han Dynasty, it is clearly stated that Wang Zhaojun was bestowed upon Yuhanyi by Emperor Yuan. To put it bluntly, it was the emperor's decree, and there was no room for her to consider the matter. Refusing would result in punishment, and even her family might suffer consequences. Therefore, the idea that Wang Zhaojun volunteered to marry the Xiongnu is not very credible. After all, who would willingly go to the desolate lands of the Xiongnu? Once the decision was made, Emperor Yuan gave the chosen palace maid the name Zhaojun, meaning bright, hoping she would bring a bright future for the people of both nations. This was Emperor Yuan's intention. Although it was still a marriage alliance, the meaning was very different. Wang Zhaojun's marriage to the Xiongnu was meant to strengthen cultural exchanges between the two nations. At this time, the marriage alliance was seen by the Xiongnu as a gift from the Han Dynasty. The Xiongnu people greatly valued this gift. Later, they honored Wang Zhaojun with the title Ninghu Yanshi. Yanshi meant queen, and Ning meant peace and tranquility, while Hu referred to the Xiongnu people. In the eyes of the Xiongnu, Wang Zhaojun was a noble queen who brought peace and tranquility to their people. The story of Zhaojun going beyond the Great Wall was a good thing for both the Han Dynasty and the Xiongnu. The Han strengthened cultural exchanges and declared its status as the dominant power, while Wang Zhaojun also brought Han culture to the Xiongnu, benefiting them both. It was a win-win situation. But for Wang Zhaojun, while it was good for everyone else, who asked for her feelings? In today's popular terminology, it could be summed up as, only Wang Zhaojun was hurt. In the first year of Jingning, 33 BCE, Wang Zhaojun sat in the Xiongnu's convoy, embarking on the long journey to the desert beyond the Great Wall. The Tang dynasty poet Du Fu wrote, "1,000 years, the pipa plays in the language of the Hu," clearly conveying the resentment in the melody. Wang Engshi once said, "Alas, the green tomb has long been overgrown and forgotten. But the sorrowful strings still remain to this day." Chao Shuoqin also wrote, "Her unparalleled beauty shocked the Han palace. But red lips and a thin fate, this has been true since ancient times." On the day of her departure, the people of Chang'an lined the streets to send her off, while the Xiongnu convoy hurried on. Everyone was talking and laughing, but who could hear the faint, sorrowful string music emanating from that caravan? Perhaps some might think, Wang Zhaojun didn't suffer that much. After all, she just married someone far away. Wasn't it common for women in ancient times to marry far from home and never return? Moreover, in the eyes of the Xiongnu, Wang Zhaojun was the noble queen who brought peace and tranquility, and she would surely be treated with great respect, without suffering any harm. And after Wang Zhaojun left for the Xiongnu, her father and brothers were given protection by the imperial court, and their status rose. So, in this light, the whole affair didn't seem so bad after all. Everything has two sides, and for Wang Zhaojun, this was certainly not a good thing. She was naturally beautiful, with unparalleled grace, and should have been cherished in the safety of a warm, sheltered life. Instead, she was sent to a desolate frontier. Such a drastic change, how could it not hurt her heart? After months of travel, when she finally reached the outer Mongolian region of China at the time, Wang Zhaojun quickly felt the painful effects of living in a foreign culture. There were no rice fields or grains like in the Central Plains. She had to eat noodles every day. The Xiongnu people's diet was simple and rough, often consisting of smelly beef and mutton, which she could hardly bear. What was most difficult, though, was the scarcity of water in the desert. Water, a precious resource, could only be used for drinking, leaving her unable to bathe or wash her face every day as she had done before. For a woman who loved beauty, this was nothing short of torture. The desert had none of the bird songs, flowers, and bountiful resources of her homeland. Instead, it was a harsh and inhospitable environment. Having lived in the Han dynasty for many years, how could Wang Zhaojun possibly like such a place? She could not return home, and each day she faced the foreign winds and sands, longing for her homeland and family. Her emotions were understandable. Even though the Xiongnu people sang and danced, praising her for bringing peace and happiness to their land, who knew the suffering she endured? From that time on, Wang Zhaojun lived with Yuhanyi for 3 years and bore him a son, named Jiaqing, who would later become the right king of the Xiongnu. Historical records state that in the second year of Jianshi, circa 33 BCE, when Yuhanyi Chanyu passed away, Wang Zhaojun was eager to petition the Han court, asking to return to China. This shows how much she longed to leave the Xiongnu. After all, who would want to stay? However, once a woman is married, it's like water that has been poured out, it cannot be brought back. How could she return? As expected, Emperor Cheng of Han issued an imperial decree for her to follow the customs of the Xiongnu, forcing her to abide by their succession marriage system. In simple terms, this meant that when a husband died, the wife was expected to marry the husband's eldest son, and if that son died, she would marry the eldest grandson. Thus, Wang Zhaojun was required to marry Yuhanyi's eldest son, Fuzuli Chanyu. For her, this was like a thunderbolt from a clear sky. She didn't care about the Xiongnu's customs. How could she marry her husband's son? Especially one who was not even her own child. There was no such thing as a wife marrying her husband's son in Chinese ethics, it was a violation of moral principles. But as an emperor, Han Chengdi was concerned with state affairs and relations between the two nations. He couldn't possibly care about the thoughts of one woman. In fact, no one cared except for Wang Zhaojun herself. The emperor didn't. The people of her homeland didn't, and even her own family didn't. It wasn't that they were heartless, the answer was simple, the greater good. When Wang Zhaojun received the emperor's decree, she deeply felt the helplessness of a woman facing national responsibilities, something she simply couldn't resist. In despair, she gave up hope of returning home and gradually became numb to her fate. She fully accepted her life in this foreign land, marrying Fuzuli Chanyu, and spent the next 11 years with him, having 2 daughters. In 20 BCE, Fuzuli Chanyu passed away, and Wang Zhaojun's life again fell into difficulty. According to the Xiongnu succession marriage system, she was forced to accept a new arrangement. Exhausted, she fell ill. In 19 BCE, Wang Zhaojun died from the pain of her heart and body, leaving this world with regret, having never returned to her homeland. As time passed, Wang Zhaojun's story became legendary, remembered by future generations. But few ever asked whether she ever felt happiness during those long years. Her fate had long been submerged by the torrents of history, and whether she was happy or not seemed to matter little anymore. As the old saying goes, beauty brings a fleeting fate, and Wang Zhaojun's tragedy is a true reflection of that ancient adage. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.